Welcome to this Valentine's Day edition of NightPulse, where we delve into darkness of a twisted kind. If you enjoy an evening or even daytime chill, please like and subscribe for more unsettling tales like this. Now, lower the lights, get comfortable, and let the pulse of darkness pull you in.
My name is David, and I was never thin enough. Not in the way Eden expects you to be. I lived in Hillside, one of the newer districts where the buildings rose like polished teeth from the slope overlooking the city. Glass balconies, soft lighting, a concierge who remembered your name even if you didn't remember his. My apartment was on the 23rd floor, high enough that the city noise softened into something distant and reassuring, like waves breaking far below a cliff. There was a gym on the 12th floor, a full health center, actually. Treadmills that faced the skyline, personal trainers who smiled too hard, posters of bodies that looked carved rather than grown. I never went. I worked in an office building downtown, a place that used to be a school decades ago before it was gutted and reborn into something modern and profitable. Sometimes, late at night, when the fluorescent lights flickered just right, I thought I could still feel it in the walls, the way sound carried strangely down the corridors, the sense that the building remembered being full of children. I was paid well, very well for my age, enough to justify the car, the apartment, the tailored suits that hid my stomach if I stood straight and breathed shallowly. Enough, I thought, to justify everything else. Noriko didn't agree. She never said it outright. She didn't have to. She would sit across from me at restaurants, places with menus so thick they felt like books, and watch me eat while she pushed her food around the plate, untouched. "You work too much," she said once, stirring a drink she hadn't ordered herself. "I work hard," I corrected. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You are always tired." That was true. I was tired. Tired from meetings that turned into drinking sessions, tired from bosses who demanded loyalty measured in empty glasses, tired from the effort of maintaining a life that looked impressive from the outside. When she asked me to go dancing, I said it sounded exhausting. When she wanted to see a late movie, I fell asleep halfway through. When she complained that I never listened, I bought her a watch that cost more than my first month's rent had years ago. She thanked me. She always thanked me. I noticed she stopped touching my hand as often. The fat came on slowly, quietly, the way it always does. It settled into me like something that had always planned to live there. My suits grew tighter. My reflection became something I avoided unless I was adjusting my tie, looking only at my face. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself Noriko loved me for who I was. Then one afternoon, I saw her laughing. It was outside a cafe near my office, one of those places with outdoor seating and small tables that made conversations feel intimate whether you wanted them to be or not. She had her phone on the table, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee. Across from her sat a man I had never seen before. Blonde hair, light eyes, the kind of athletic build that looked effortless, like his body had never known hunger or excess. He leaned forward when he spoke. She leaned forward too. She laughed again, head thrown back slightly, unrestrained. I stopped walking. The world narrowed until there was only them, the cafe, the way his hand moved when he talked, the way she looked at him, not politely, not patiently, but with interest. Something inside me tightened. It wasn't anger at first, it was calculation, an inventory of my flaws, conducted with brutal efficiency. I have money, I have stability, I have a future. So why did my mind land immediately and decisively on my body?
Fat. The word echoed, heavy and undeniable. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask. I didn't joke about it. I smiled when I saw her that evening. I kissed her cheek. I told her I was busy that night. Instead, I watched. I scrolled through her social media late into the night, stomach heavy with expensive food I barely tasted. I examined every photo, every like, every comment from names I didn't recognize. I told myself I was being careful, rational. The idea that it might be my fault, that I had neglected her emotionally, that I had replaced affection with money, never once crossed my mind. A few days later, I found myself walking through one of Eden's more fashionable shopping streets, the kind lined with boutiques that smelled faintly of perfume and polished wood, jewelry stores with guards at the doors, a candle shop called the Flame Artisan, its windows glowing warmly even in daylight. I passed it without stopping. It was the smell that caught me. Not coffee, not food, something lighter, sweeter, almost edible. It cut through the air and hooked itself into me, tugging me off my path before I realized what I was doing. The stall stood between two high-end storefronts, absurdly out of place. A simple wooden cart, a parasol casting a neat circle of shade. Beneath it stood a woman, utterly still, hands folded in front of her, as if she had been placed there rather than having arrived on her own. She looked like a mannequin. Her expression was blank, her posture too perfect. In front of her were neat stacks of translucent squares, rice paper, delicately wrapped, each packet labeled with small handwritten tags indicating flavors. I cleared my throat. "Excuse me." She didn't move. For a moment, I wondered if she was real at all. Then her head snapped up. The change was immediate and wrong. Her smile stretched too far, pulling at the corners of her mouth until I thought the skin might tear. Her eyes widened, gleaming with an enthusiasm that had no warmth in it. "Yes," she said brightly, her body moving in sharp, slightly delayed motions, like a poorly synced puppet. "How may I help you today?" I took a step back without realizing it. "What is this?" I asked, gesturing vaguely at the display. "Edible rice paper, in many flavors, light, pure, perfect for those who wish to change." Her gaze swept over me. Not my face, my body. I felt suddenly acutely aware of my size. "Does it work?" I asked, half joking. Her smile widened further. "It does exactly what it promises, a slimming effect, gradual, elegant, 1 square per day." She held up a small packet, strawberry flavored. I imagined myself thinner, lighter. I imagined Noriko looking at me the way she looked at that man. I bought 1 pack, 5 pieces, 1 per day.
That night, in my apartment high above Eden, I ate the first square. It dissolved on my tongue instantly, sweet, delicate, gone before I could properly taste it. I went to bed thinking nothing of it. By the 5th day, my trousers fit better. By the 6th, Noriko stopped answering my messages as quickly. I returned to the shopping street. The woman was still there, waiting. I told myself it was discipline. That was the word I chose when I went back to the shopping street and stood in front of the cart again, pretending this was a rational decision rather than an urge. Discipline sounded clean, respectable, something a man like me should possess. The woman was there, exactly as before, still, upright, her parasol casting the same perfect circle of shade. For a moment, before she noticed me, I could have sworn she hadn't breathed since the last time I saw her. When her eyes snapped to mine, that stretched smile returned. "Back so soon?" she said, as if we were old friends. "I finished them," I replied, holding up the empty wrapper. "They worked." Her gaze drifted down my body again, lingering, measuring. "Yes," she said, "they did." This time I didn't hesitate. I bought several packs, strawberry again, but also chocolate, coffee, vanilla, matcha, coconut. The colors layered together like something decorative rather than edible. She didn't warn me again about the dosage. She didn't have to. The first thing I noticed was that regular foods stopped appealing to me. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just quietly. The thought of rice, noodles, meat, it all felt heavy, unrefined. The rice paper, by contrast, was perfect. It left nothing behind. No fullness, no guilt, only the brief sweetness, and then absence. I started eating more than 1 square a day, sometimes 3, sometimes more. I justified it by telling myself my body needed time to adjust, that I was accelerating a process that was already underway. Each morning, the mirror rewarded me. My face sharpened, my jawline emerged, my stomach flattened, my shirts hung better. My reflection finally matched the version of myself I had always felt trapped beneath. Noriko didn't comment. She barely responded at all. When she did answer my messages, they were short, polite, distant. I blamed the blonde man. I blamed work. I blamed her. Anything but myself.
One morning, I woke earlier than usual. The city outside my window was still gray, Eden half asleep. I stood naked in front of the mirror, admiring the way my body looked from the front. Handsome, clean, controlled. I smiled, and as I turned away, I caught something wrong in the corner of my eye. My reflection lagged. Just for a moment, I turned back sharply. Everything was normal. My body was there, solid, familiar. I laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, dieting, stress. Then, experimentally, I turned sideways. My face remained. My body did not. Or rather, it did, but only barely. From the side, I was no longer a shape. I was a line, a thin, trembling outline like the edge of a page held up to the light. My heart began to pound. I stepped closer to the mirror, turned fully sideways again. Flat. I raised an arm. From the front, it looked normal. From the side, it disappeared. I screamed. The sound felt wrong leaving my mouth, thinner somehow, stretched. I wrapped a towel around myself, though I had no idea why, and stumbled backward, knocking into the bed. My body felt strange. Not weak, not numb, just reduced, as if I occupied less space than I remembered. I didn't go to work. I didn't call anyone. I dressed carefully, choosing clothes that wouldn't betray me from the wrong angle, and rushed back to the shopping street.
The cart was there. The woman waited. I didn't bother with politeness. "What did you do to me?" I hissed, stepping into her space. She tilted her head, the motion stiff, deliberate. "I gave you exactly what you wanted," she replied. "You wished to be thin." "This isn't thin," I said. This is excess removed," she finished calmly. "Dimension reduced. You said 1 square a day. And you ate more," she said gently. "Gluttony is not my doing." My hands were shaking. "I'll stop. I'll eat normal food. I'll gain it back." Her smile faded. "No," she said. "You won't." She leaned closer, her eyes boring into mine. "How would you eat? Your body no longer understands thickness. Chewing would tear you. Swallowing would split you. You are refined now." I felt dizzy. There must be something I can do. She straightened, returning to her mannequin stillness. "You could learn to live differently," she said. "You could use what you've become." That night, I tested my limits. I pressed myself against the wall and felt my body slide closer than it should have. I turned sideways and slipped between the wardrobe and the wall where there had never been space before. When I lay down on the bed, I barely dented the mattress. The city outside looked flatter, too, as if depth itself was mocking me. I called Noriko. When her face appeared on the screen, I angled myself carefully, front-facing only. "You look amazing," she said, surprised. Relief flooded me. I told her everything, except the truth. I told her I had been insecure, that I was changing, that I wanted to be better for her. "I need to see you," she said softly. "We need to talk."
A week passed. She became distant again, and Valentine's Day was fast approaching. That was when I decided to surprise her. Romantic gestures, I thought, were about effort, about proving devotion. I prepared an envelope. I wrote her name carefully, slid myself inside, folded, flattened. I fit perfectly. The world went dark.
When the envelope was lifted, I felt the vibration of footsteps. A man's voice, young, casual, called out to Noriko, "Babe, there's a letter for you." Steam filled the air, the sound of running water, her shampoo. My heart twisted. I realized then how little space I truly occupied. "Lucas, I'm still showering. Come here, just open it for me," she told him. The envelope tore open. Light split the darkness in a violent, blinding line, and for a moment I thought I had been ripped apart. I felt fingers, large, warm, careless, pinch the paper edges of my body and shake me loose. I fluttered downward, weightless, landing against the tiled floor with a sound like dropped stationery. I lay still. From where I had fallen, I could only see fragments of the apartment, ankles, bare feet, steam curling out from the bathroom, heavy with warmth and the scent of Noriko's shampoo. The sound of water striking tile was intimate in a way that made something inside me tear. The man crouched to pick me up. Blonde, close now, younger than me. His hands were rough, in the way of someone who used his body often and without resentment. He frowned at the envelope, confused, turning it over. "What is this?" he muttered. Noriko's voice floated out from behind the shower curtain. "Mail? Yeah, just weird." He slid a finger inside the torn edge. I screamed, or I thought I did. What came out of me was a thin, papery rasp, like air passing over dry leaves. He flinched, recoiling as my folded body spilled fully into view. "What the?" Noriko stepped out of the bathroom. She froze. The towel slipped from her hands. She stared at me, at my face, still perfectly intact from the front, at my body, which twisted unnaturally when I tried to move toward her, creasing and bending where bone should have resisted. "David?" she whispered. The sound of my name, spoken like that, cracked something inside me. My foot bent, not twisted, folded. The arch collapsed in on itself, flattening against the tile with a soft, papery sound. I staggered, arms flaring instinctively for balance, and both of them buckled at the elbows, creasing sharply inward like damp parchment forced into a shape it didn't want. Noriko recoiled. The look on her face wasn't confusion anymore. It was revulsion. "Oh my God," she whispered. She covered her mouth, not to stop herself from screaming, but as if something about me had made her physically nauseated. Her eyes flicked over me rapidly now, my face still intact and horribly familiar, and then down, following the way my body narrowed and collapsed beneath it. The blonde man swore loudly. "What the fuck is that thing?" he barked, backing away. "Noriko, get away from it!" It. The word hit harder than any insult I had ever heard. "I did this for you," I said desperately. My voice fluttered, thin and uneven, like it was tearing itself as it left my mouth. "I fixed it! I fixed everything! I'm better now!" Noriko shook her head violently. You're disgusting!" The word landed, final and absolute. The blonde man took another step back, then straightened, anger overtaking fear. "You're a freak. Get the hell out of here before I call the police." Something inside me snapped. I don't remember deciding to move. I leapt, or tried to. My body surged forward in a sudden, violent glide, my thinness letting me cut through the air faster than I should have been able to. I slammed into him chest first, my body flexing and bending around his shape like wrapping paper thrown too hard. My arms snapped around him, the edges of me biting at him. He screamed. Not in fear, in pain.
My forearms, thin and rigid, sliced into his skin as I tightened my grip. Paper cuts bloomed instantly, dozens of them, opening across his neck and cheek and forearms. Blood welled up in fine, bright lines. Noriko screamed, "Stop! Stop it!" He shoved me back, clutching his face. I hit him again, slapping my flattened arm against his neck, my edges catching, tearing. I felt something tear, him, not me. And for one wild, horrible moment, I thought this was working. Steam rolled through the bathroom. Water sprayed from the still-running shower. My body soaked it in. At first, it felt incredible. I felt heavier, thicker. My limbs puffed slightly, swelling as moisture seeped into me. I laughed, a wet, papery sound. "I can fight now," I said. "See, you blonde bastard? I'm normal. Then my arms sagged. The stiffness vanished. My elbow drooped, bending too far, too soft. My torso rippled unpleasantly as gravity took hold. The water kept soaking in, and instead of strength, my body became soggy. The blonde man recovered quickly. He grabbed me by what should have been my shoulders. My body stretched, pulled. I screamed as my torso elongated unnaturally, my midsection thinning and tearing in places like soaked paper forced apart. He punched me, once, twice, and my head snapped back, my face folding slightly before slowly springing back into place. Noriko was crying now. Oh God, stop, please stop!" He shoved me hard. I collapsed. Not fell, collapsed. I crumpled into a useless heap on the tile, limbs folding beneath me, sticking to the floor. I tried to rise, but my body simply peeled upward, sluggish and uncooperative. "You're not human," the blonde man said, voice shaking with rage and horror. "I'm getting this thing out of here." He dragged me. I felt my body scrape along the floor, edges tearing, fibers pulling loose. I tried to speak, but my mouth sagged, words slurring as waterlogged paper slid against paper. The front door opened. Cold air rushed in. He threw me. I hit the hallway floor in a loose, folded heap. The door slammed shut, the lock clicking loudly on the other side. Noriko's sobbing cut off abruptly. Silence. I lay there for a long time, slowly drying, slowly flattening again. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was my reflection in the polished hallway wall, my face still intact, staring out from a body that had completely failed to hold its shape. Then later, much later, I was outside, flattened against the cold concrete of Eden's streets, sliding through alleys and gutters, unseen, unwanted. The city had no place for something like me except as a mistake. I went back to the shopping street. The cart was gone. In its place stood a statue, stone, weathered, elegant, a woman beneath a parasol, hands folded, her smile carved just slightly too wide. A plaque at the base read, "In honor of the first vendor to grace this street." I touched it. It was cold. It had always been there. The realization settled into me with a terrible calm. There had never been a woman, never a choice, only appetite and consequence.
Nowadays, I live differently. I fold myself into shapes for crowds that laugh and clap and take photos. Cranes, fans, impossible angles that make children gasp and adults look away. I am careful to present myself only from the front, where I still look human. They call me the Origami Man. Sometimes I catch my reflection in the curved mirrors behind the stage, and for a moment, just a moment, I swear I see thickness returning. Then I turn sideways,
and there is almost nothing there at all. If you find yourself wanting less of yourself, if you believe becoming thinner will make you loved, be careful what you consume to get there. Some things don't leave room for you to come back.